I found a mark on my husband's back. A freshly popped pimple. It bugged me. I mean, who the hell pops a guy's back pimples? My gut told me he was seeing someone. That night, while he was snoring away, I used his fingerprint to unlock his phone. What I saw made my jaw drop. Every Friday was us time. Wine, candles, the whole works. But there it was, a bright red spot on his back. I pushed Chris to the mirror. "Who did this?" I asked. He didn't even blink. "Did it myself at the office mirror," he said. Right, a grown man, half naked in a public office restroom, twisting like a pretzel to pop a zit. Can you picture that? Because I couldn't. Chris was the honest guy. 5 years of marriage, and he never even looked at another woman. Last year, his company went public, and he went from a regular dev to a millionaire overnight. He didn't change, still the same sweet guy, like a warm chai latte, reliable and comforting. Or so I thought. I grabbed his phone while he slept. It wasn't his usual home screen. It was a dual profile setup, and the wallpaper, it was Chris hugging a girl half his age. I opened his WhatsApp. It was a mess of baby and miss you texts. The messages started 3 months ago, exactly when he got this new phone. I woke him up. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. "You bought this phone just to lie to me, didn't you?" I screamed. He just looked down, silent. That's when I knew the man I loved was gone. He begged for a second chance. Cried like a baby. "I'll delete everything, Hannah, please." Our 5th anniversary came around. He booked a fancy steakhouse. Flowers, diamonds, the whole I'm sorry package. He gave me a platinum necklace. It was beautiful. I wanted to believe him. I really did. Our 5th anniversary was supposed to be a fresh start. Chris booked a high-end steakhouse, the kind of place we'd never visited before. He was being the perfect husband. Flowers, a soft candlelight dinner, and a sparkling platinum necklace. "I'm sorry for everything, Hannah," he whispered, clipping it around my neck. I actually felt moved. I wanted to believe that people could change. But then, his stomach started acting up. 5-ounce steaks never did agree with him. He excused himself to the restroom. I went to the car to grab his stomach meds. His laptop was sitting on the passenger seat, still awake and connected to his phone's hotspot. I didn't even have to try. The WhatsApp screen was right there, synced with his hidden profile. "I miss you," Amber had sent. "I dreamed of you last night." Then, a new message popped up from Chris. "Sent just now, from the restaurant restroom. I miss you too, baby." The words hit me like a physical blow. My breath hitched. He was literally sitting on a toilet, texting his mistress, while I was outside fetching his medicine. I sat in the dark car, crying until I couldn't breathe. Every "I love you," every flower, every diamond, it was all a performance. I was the idiot who played the part of the forgiving wife in a script he wrote for someone else. I looked at the packet of pills in my hand. One by one, I popped them out and threw them into the gutter. I wiped my face, checked my reflection, and walked back into that restaurant with a smile. The car was a bit far, I lied to him, ready for dessert. A few days later, I took him to a new bungee jumping park. 80 meters high. In the elevator, he held my hand tight. "Why bungee jumping?" he asked. "I want you to remember this day forever," I said, my voice steady. "If you're scared, just close your eyes and hold on to me," he whispered, tucking my hand into his pocket. I felt a surge of nausea. This man was a professional liar. But the wind at the top was cold, and it finally cleared my head. We stood on the edge. The instructor was checking the ropes. Chris looked at me, probably waiting to say something romantic. I didn't give him the chance. I knelt down, unhooked my own safety harness, and with every ounce of rage in my body, I shoved him. He didn't fall gracefully. He fell with a scream that echoed through the entire canyon. He survived, but the shock sent him straight to the hospital. And the best part, his weak stomach didn't hold up during the fall. He let it all go, right into his designer pants. The room went silent after Amber's announcement. 3 months pregnant. Chris looked like he'd won the lottery and been hit by a bus at the same time. His mom, who had spent 5 years complaining about my empty nest, was suddenly glowing. I felt a surge of rage. You've been with her for 3 months. Since you got the new phone. Amber looked down, playing the victim. It happened the first time I didn't want to tell you, but I couldn't hurt the baby. The sheer shamelessness was breathtaking. Amber, generously, offered to return her diamond ring to pay for Chris's hospital bill. When she pulled it out, my heart stopped. It was a massive, brilliant diamond. I looked at the necklace Chris gave me for our anniversary. They were a set. The ring was the main purchase. The necklace was just the free gift that came with it. I was his wife, and I was wearing the leftovers of his mistress's jewelry. I ripped the necklace off and threw it at his face. Before I could say another word, Amber ran for the window. If I'm such a burden, I'll just end it all, she screamed, climbing onto the ledge. Chris's mom lunged forward, grabbing her. No. My grandson. They huddled on the floor, Amber sobbing into the woman's shoulder. Don't worry, honey, my mother-in-law whispered, loud enough for me to hear. I'll be your mother from now on. We don't need asterisk her asterisk. I went home to find my own father waiting for me. He looked ashamed. Hannah, how could you push him off a platform? Have I raised a murderer? He didn't care about the cheating. He only cared about propriety. Go to the hospital and apologize, he ordered. Save your marriage. I realized then that I was truly alone. My husband was a liar, my mother-in-law was a snake, and my father was trapped in the 1950s. The next day, my mother-in-law arrived at my door. She wasn't alone. She brought half the neighborhood, a mob of judgmental old ladies. She wants to make my son extinct, she wailed to the crowd. She refuses to have children. And now she's trying to steal his hard-earned money. The neighbors started pointing and whispering. Gold digger, I heard someone say. The woman I'd treated like a mother for 5 years was now leading a public execution of my reputation. She threw a divorce agreement at me. Sign it, you get nothing. You don't deserve a penny of my son's stocks. The neighbors were egging her on. Yeah, sign it, leave him alone. My father, embarrassed by the scene, grabbed my arm. Just sign it, Hannah, let's go home. Don't embarrass us further. I looked at the paper, then at the mob of people who knew nothing of the truth. I signed it. I just wanted the nightmare to end. But as I handed it back, I looked my mother-in-law in the eye. You'll regret this, I whispered. A month later, I walked out of the government office. The divorce was final. My phone rang. It was Amber. Thanks for the clean break, Hannah, she laughed. Chris and I are getting married next week. Don't bother showing up. Oh, and thanks for the stocks. They're paying for my new G-Wagon. I hung up. The sadness was gone. Now, there was only cold, calculated fire. I went to a sushi place with my parents to try and forget. But the universe had other plans. In the next booth, I heard a familiar, screeching laugh. We got her. She signed away everything. My ex-mother-in-law was bragging to the same neighbors. I even gave the ladies some cash for helping out. It's a lot cheaper than giving that woman half the stocks. I sat there, listening to them celebrate the scam they'd pulled on me. That was it, no more playing nice. I didn't waste a second. I hired a hacker and gave him Glenda's phone number. 2 hours later, I had her whole life. She wasn't an heiress. She was a professional, high-value woman scammer. She'd spent years in training camps, learning how to hunt men like Chris. And the baby, it wasn't Chris's. It belonged to a billionaire she'd tried to trap 3 months ago. I looked at the data and smiled. This wasn't just evidence. This was a script for a masterpiece. The wedding was a sea of white and gold. Chris looked proud, and my ex-mother-in-law was floating through the room like she owned the city. I sat in the back, hidden under a wide-brimmed hat. Suddenly, an old man in rustic, dirty clothes stumbled onto the stage. He grabbed Glenda's arm, shouting, "Niece, why didn't you invite us to your big day?" Glenda turned white as a sheet. I don't know this man, she screamed. She didn't know him because I'd hired him. I found out she had a specific birthmark on her back from her old photos, and I paid this actor to recognize it. The seeds of doubt were planted. Before Chris could even react to the uncle, the ballroom doors burst open. 4 women in flashy, tacky dresses marched in, unfurling a massive red banner that read, "Congrats, Glenda, on retiring from Happy Feet Massage. From your spa sisters." The neighbors, those same women who called me Baron, were now whispering in horror. I'd spent all night digging through Glenda's old WhatsApp logs to find these women. They were more than happy to congratulate the friend who'd blocked them the moment she found a rich guy. The grand finale was the billionaire's wife. She didn't need a banner, she just needed a microphone. She walked onto the stage and slapped Glenda across the face. "This leech tried to steal $20 million from my family," she told the crowd. "And Chris, that baby, it's my husband's mistake, not yours." I'd contacted her 2 days ago. As fellow victims of this woman's greed, we were natural allies. We de-planned every second of this performance. Glenda collapsed in her white dress. The perfect wedding was a graveyard. Glenda vanished, leaving Chris with her massive debts. The car, the apartment, all in his name. A week later, Chris was on my porch. He looked like a ghost. "I lost everything, Hannah, but I still want a family. I just want a child." He was still obsessed with his legacy, even while standing in the ruins of his life. I invited him in, not to forgive him, but to bury him. I handed him the envelope from 5 years ago. "Read it, Chris. You wanted a family so badly you destroyed ours for a lie." He scanned the page. "Azoospermia, total sterility. I protected your pride for 5 years. I let people call me the problem to save you. The baby was never yours. And now, neither am I." I closed the door on his sobbing face. Finally, I was free.